Hi everyone and welcome back. I've noticed that one of the most frequent comments and emails I get is about choosing a bow or choosing a violin. And since we've given very little love to the bow here, let's dig a little deeper into how to choose a bow for you to buy. First, I'm going to walk you through some immediate things to think about in looking at a bow, and then at the end of the video, I'll do a demonstration with 3 different bows as if I were trying them for myself, so you can get a picture of what you're looking for. So it can be fairly overwhelming when you've walked into the shop and there are what seems like hundreds of bows peering at you from every corner. How are you supposed to choose? Well, the very first thing you need to do is lock down your budget. You can spend anywhere from $50 to $100,000 on a bow, and probably even more than that, but you have to know the reason why you're in the bow shop in the first place. If your budget is $50, then you probably don't even need to be there. Just look something up on Amazon or Craigslist and that would probably be fine because the quality is literally going to be a plastic stick with some hair on it. It's great for 5-year-olds that are just dropping them all the time. But otherwise, the bows that are up in the crazy amounts are usually going to be historical bows, often the 19th century French bows like Torte or Lupot or Pajot. But realistically, most of you guys are going to be looking for something in the 1,000 to 20,000 range, and that's a quite high end of the spectrum. So bows are made of 3 different materials: Brazil wood, carbon fiber, or Pernambuco. And this is the second thing that you need to think about. What material do you want your bow to be? Brazil wood isn't even exactly a specific wood. It's kind of a blanket term for inexpensive tropical hardwoods, not only from Brazil, but other tropical countries. So this is some of the cheapest stuff out there and will price you to around $250. So it's the stuff you usually find in beginner bows. Absolutely no nuance, but it'll scrape across the strings and it is perfectly serviceable. Carbon fiber is a material that's gained a lot more popularity in recent decades, partially because it's getting hard to get Pernambuco wood, which I'll get back to in a second. So carbon fiber bows can be quite stiff, but you can also get a really quite nice sound from them. They're also durable, which is a really big bonus because honestly, I'm surprised there are as many historical bows out there as there are. Bows break and it's a really quite common thing. And then of course there's Pernambuco. It's a dense, heavy wood from several areas in Brazil and has seemingly perfect qualities for bows: strength, elasticity, and responsiveness. So bow makers, particularly the top bow makers, will be obsessed with finding the very top quality of this wood, which takes a lot of time and observation for how the wood is kept, how it's stored, etc., etc. But of course, after all these centuries of bow makers and other woodworkers using this especially high quality wood, the species has become depleted, and there are now a lot of restrictions on the export of Pernambuco, which in turn reflects the price for Pernambuco bows. Just find what feels good in your hand. You want something not too light, not too heavy, something that responds to you alone. You can take suggestions, of course, but try not to let the price or other people's opinions affect you. This is a bow that you're going to be using for hopefully years and years, so make sure it's something that you're comfortable with. When you're in the shop, the bow maker will usually lay out maybe 6 or 7 bows for you to try according to your price range. From there, you usually narrow it down to 2 or 3 to take home with you and try out. And when you've brought them home, try to live with them for a week at least. You'll discover more and more about them the more that you play with them. Also, remember to ask how old the bow's hair is because this is something you'll really want to factor in. Now, when you're trying in the shop, narrowing down your bows, remember, you're not performing for anybody, so it's not the time to show off. Try a bunch of different styles: legato, sautille, spiccato, martelé, saltato, ricochet, up and down bow staccato, and see which ones speak the most. I like to go back through Sevcik exercises or Tartini's The Art of Bowing, or really just any section in a piece that you're playing at the moment that's difficult for you. And most importantly, I would say just start with open strings. Close your eyes and listen to the different tones each bow creates. Each person, each bow hold, and each instrument will combine differently with the bow. So take that into consideration as well. I can't help but make this little segue into bow grips, but here is Zuckerman's. It's technically a Franco-Belgian bow grip. And here's Milstein's, which is a Russian-style bow grip. Here is Galamian's. And here's mine, which is pretty much a Franco-Belgian. The point of this is that depending on your bow grip, you may be looking for a specific sort of bow as well. Now let's take a look at a demonstration just to get an idea. I chose selections from Tartini's The Art of Bowing, Variations 4 and 11, and what's been on my stand, Stravinsky's Suite Italienne, so the Tarantella and the theme from the Gavotte. I didn't practice for this specifically to give the feeling of a practice session with different bows. And so you can see the inconsistencies or great qualities of each bow. What becomes easier, what doesn't, and what I just really need to practice. So if I had actually practiced really hard with each of these bows, I would be able to show you the best possible result of each of these bows. And this video would be a totally moot point since I would just be adjusting to a performance situation. So let's hear it. So by now you should have started to shape your preferences. So let's see what the same bow sounds like on a different instrument. Just as a demonstration, the last things you want to take a look at are the flexibility or rigidity, and if the bow is straight or not. Obviously, there's more than one way to see if it's straight, but if the bow was crooked, you'd be able to see it peeking out at the left or the right here. All right, so here's the big reveal. Bow 1 is a D.Silveira Pernambuco bow, going for about $1,500. Bow 2 is a Hill & Son Pernambuco bow at $7,000. And bow 3 is a François Lupot II bow, made in 1825, estimated to be around $70,000. I'll bet there are some thoughts spinning around in your head right now. So the Lupot is, for me, clearly the best of the bunch, not because of the price or the maker or the history or anything like that, but because it's heavy but flexible. It grips the string anywhere on the bow, be it at the tip, the middle, or the frog, and overall, it just helps me to play. I knew I loved this bow within seconds of playing it because it made playing easier. The articulation was amazing, and it made me thrilled. But here's the thing, old bows like that are in a class of their own in terms of pricing. A lot of the time they'll be in auction houses, and the price range you'd look at with a modern bow and get a really excellent result from will not bring you as far as with an old bow. Unless you're willing to shell out 40 grand and up for a bow, use your money wisely and get yourself a masterful modern bow, because there are plenty of those out there. The Hill bow took some time to get used to. It's also quite heavy, but I felt it was top heavy, which sort of threw off the balance. It also helped me get a grip at the tip, but the middle felt like lost country, so I felt especially the legato had lost some of the edge. The Silveira, it's a light bow, and anything off the string just required more muscle work than you would have to use on a bow that's actively working for you. Of course, this is all my personal opinion. So, in conclusion, a good bow is perhaps more important than a perfect violin, especially when you're a student. Playing with a well-balanced bow is so important, because when you're playing with these cheap little ones that you get off Amazon, or really just any badly made bow, you run the risk of hurting yourself. You end up pressing the bow and it won't speak well no matter how hard you press it, instead of using your natural arm weight. And that activates all these muscles in your arm that otherwise you wouldn't be used to using on a regular basis. Now, once you've bought your bow, this should go without saying, but be nice to it. Don't whack it around, obviously, but mostly you want to be aware of bringing the bow into new climates, be it a different season or when we can all travel again, of course, different countries. Warm the bow up slowly. Let it sit in its case for a bit before opening and letting it sit untightened when you do open it. And then, only then, do you start to play slowly with it. Here in New York City, the winters are dry and the summers are humid, which is terrible for bows. So get yourself a humidifier. Don't leave your case near the window or heater, or you will have yourself a cracked bow at some point. And I know this from experience. My bow cracked in college and I was devastated. I got it taped up, but of course it's never the same after that. All right, I think I'm all bowed out, but know that I'm not done making videos on bows yet. On another episode, we'll take a look into the bow shop of Young Chin, who I've been going to buy and rehair my bows since I was 15. He also lent me the bows for this video, so he really made it possible. Thank you, Young. If you enjoyed this video, please take a moment to like and subscribe. Leave comments and questions below, and I'll try to get to them as soon as I can. And until next time, cheers.